Today we're making a smoked pork tenderloin. We're going to season it with Meat Church Texas sugar and make ourselves a maple whiskey glaze. To begin, we're going to measure out the ingredients for our maple whiskey glaze. We start by pouring out 4 ounces of bourbon, and for this recipe we've chosen one of our favorites, the Chris Lytle's Lights Out Bourbon. However, you can use any bourbon or whiskey of your choice. Next, we measure out half a cup of pure maple syrup. This addition will provide a sweet element, but also create some dark richness to our glaze. Lastly, we'll measure out a 1/4 cup of brown sugar and then set all these ingredients aside for later. Next up, we'll be trimming our pork tenderloins. While most pork tenderloins are already trimmed fairly well by the butcher, we'll remove some excess fat and silver skin from this one. Now we're going to season all sides liberally with a rub. For this cook, I've used Meat Church's Texas Sugar Rub. I like the sweet elements that it brings, including flavors like honey, while staying true with the typical elements like salt, pepper, garlic, and paprika. Last thing before we're ready to smoke these pork tenderloins, we insert our MEATER Plus wireless thermometer. This cook, I'm running at 225 degrees on my Traeger Timberline XL, and for the first 15 minutes, I'll run it on the Super Smoke feature. Now while the pork tenderloins begin to cook, we can make our maple whiskey glaze. I start by melting 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter in a small saucepan. Then we pour in our pre-measured maple syrup and our pre-measured bourbon or whiskey. Lastly, I add the brown sugar and bring this up to a boil. After boiling for 3 to 4 minutes, I've lowered the heat to a simmer to reduce the glaze by about half. Then once it's reduced, I pour it into a small bowl to allow it to cool slightly before we eventually brush it onto our pork tenderloins. After smoking the pork tenderloins for 1 to 1.5 hours depending on the size, we've reached an internal temperature of 135 degrees, and now we're ready to apply our maple whiskey glaze. After opening the smoker, we brush the glaze on all sides. Here we want to focus on giving it a nice even coat. Once we've brushed on our maple whiskey glaze, we're going to crank the smoker up to 300 degrees and smoke our pork tenderloins for another 20 to 30 minutes until they've reached an internal temperature of 145 degrees. Once we've hit that internal temp of 145 degrees, we want to let our pork tenderloins rest for about 15 minutes before slicing. After resting, we slice the pork tenderloins starting at one end into roughly 1/2 inch thick circular discs. This pork tenderloin turned out really well. You can see that by that beautiful pink color on the inside as we slice through it. After taking a quick look, jump in for that first bite. This one turned out delicious. The sweetness of that maple whiskey glaze paired very well with the Texas Sugar Rub. We're definitely going to be doing this one again.